Hi, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Meeple Leaf podcast. I am Nick Angiers. Meeple Leaf is a network of board game events. I founded the still very small company about a year and a half ago, and I do local events, I do corporate events. Now I have a YouTube channel, and as of this episode airing, I have a podcast. How I envision this podcast is the side hustle show for gamers. Now, there are lots of ways that you can earn side income doing something related to your passion for board games. For example, you can design games, you can do YouTube reviews, you can do a podcast, you can start a small local convention. All of these are potential business models where we can do something we love, and if we do it right, maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to go full-time with it. That's the dream, right? My personal ambition with Meeple Leaf is to build a local community here in Vancouver, launch a convention, and then instead of growing that convention to where I'm just getting more and more people and it's getting to a larger scale, we're getting more vendors. Rather than do that, I think I'd rather have more small conventions in more different places. So it would be a traveling board game convention. And I'd like to do that not just in Canada and eventually in the US, but all over the world. Now, that goal may change in the future. If you're listening to this several years after I recorded it, my goals may have changed drastically. But from the beginning, that's where I see myself going. And as of a year and a half in, that goal has not changed at all. I am slowly getting towards it. So right now, I'm starting to see some income, not a whole lot. At this phase, I'm really just planting some seeds, getting things off the ground, seeing what works, what people like, and then gradually growing my business. So that's the idea with this podcast. Some episodes will be me sharing my experiences so that hopefully you can learn from those. And in the future, I hope to interview others who have their own board game related side businesses so that you can draw inspiration from that for your own endeavors. On this episode, I would like to tell you a little bit about my brand new YouTube channel. I'm recording this during the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. At present, we've been on semi-lockdown for 4 months now. We can still go to the store, public transportation is open, but all large-scale events are still canceled. And since I run an events company, that kind of put a wrench in my gears. So what I've done for the past few months is, I've put Meeple Leaf on a bit of a hiatus. I'm not able to do any events. And instead, to focus on another one of my passions, learning languages. Something that I really love doing, but I don't usually have the time to do it. Now I've got lots of time, so I've been putting in about 4 hours a day learning Vietnamese. Now, I majored in Asian studies with a focus on Chinese. I lived in China for 7 years. Speaking Mandarin is a big part of my day-to-day life and also my work. I've always been curious about Vietnamese. Last October, I started learning a little bit of it. I learned the tones and the pronunciation and some basic vocabulary. But I was just spending a few hours a week, nothing too intensive. But during the first 3 months of lockdown, I think I really made a lot of progress with the language. And by the end of that time, I felt I was ready to do a board game how to play video in Vietnamese. So I did one for King Domino, and it was a lot of work writing the script for such a simple game. And then I have a partner who helped me correct it. To shoot the video, it took 2 very exhausting afternoons. I was doing every line 20 or 30 times, so it was a lot of energy. My level is still quite low, so it was really pushing the boundaries of what I can do with the language. And then even then, there were still lots of mistakes that people pointed out after I posted the video. It took me a whole day to edit. A lot of that was reteaching myself how to edit video, which I haven't done in a long time. But I made it through, and I posted the video. And I think for my current level, it came out pretty good. The following week, I did another one for Onitama, and this was a lot faster. So it's a shorter video. It's only 4 minutes instead of 6. And also the rules are simpler, the shots are simpler, but I just felt less exhausted while doing it. I was doing fewer takes for each shot before I was satisfied. So even just from that one video, I think I a ton and came a long way. At present, I have a whopping total of 5 subscribers on my channel. 6 videos total, aside from the 2 Vietnamese language ones. I have some just of me trying to do board game related baking, edible versions of games. and just some other how to play videos for live streams that I'm doing, including how to make these games yourself. So I did Just One and Word on the Street, both party word games. One reason why I'm doing these videos is just to get into the habit of being on camera. Right now my setup is super simple, super bare bones. I'm just using my cell phone for recording, sometimes the camera on my computer, and then I have a little tripod that I bought for $30 from London Drugs. It has those little wiry legs that you can wrap around something. And then I just happen to have a wide-angle lens for a cell phone. It works on my computer too. If I'm doing a live stream and I want to show more, then I can just clip the wide-angle lens onto my camera, and that's worked quite well. And then since my computer doesn't have an Ethernet input, I bought an adapter and a high-speed Ethernet cable. So when I'm doing live streams, I'll have a very stable connection. And it also helps when I'm uploading videos because it's much faster than Wi-Fi. I also found a stereo mic, which is really old. It's more than 10 years old. I could use a better one of those, but you can get a decent one for less than $100. Also, some lights would come in handy when I'm doing live shows. Sometimes the lighting gets spotty. A pair of those is going to be $100+. And then a webcam you can get for around $100 as well. Those are some of the things that I could add to my setup as I go to make it look better and more professional and just less like I'm doing it on my phone. I could also really use a tripod with an adjustable pole. The one I have right now is very small. So if I'm putting it high, I have to stack it on a bunch of boxes or something. Not the most convenient. Overall, not a whole lot of investment needed, and you can even just do it with your phone. Like, you don't really need any special equipment to get started. As for video editing software, I'm using DaVinci Resolve, which is a free and really good video editing open source software that you can download. I've been watching up on some videos on how to get started with YouTube. There's lots on YouTube, but I find it very scattershot. A good resource is Skillshare. So they have some more organized courses based on things that you might want to learn, like getting started with YouTube or using a DaVinci Resolve or Audacity like I'm using now. And it is possible to get your first 2 months of Skillshare for free. So getting started on YouTube is actually quite simple. If you have a smartphone and a laptop and a stable internet connection, then you're good to go. You just need to set aside some time and have an idea of what you want to do. As for how I see using YouTube as part of my business, I look at Meeple Leaf and any business really as, in gaming terms, an engine. So it's like an engine building game where each of the components synergizes and works together to form a collective whole. So YouTube is one of those pieces. I also have my local events, my mini cons, social media, live streams, all that. They're all just pieces in the machine that work together. YouTube is great for discoverability. So maybe through YouTube, some people will find me. They might hear about this podcast or hear about my events and so on. So YouTube is really just part of my overall presence. It is possible to monetize through YouTube by views. I've noticed with board game related videos, they usually don't get a ton of views, not other than Will Wheaton's Tabletop. They'll get 1 million or 2 million views per video. But if you're looking at reviews or how to play videos, a few thousand, maybe in the tens of thousands, some really popular ones in the hundreds of thousands, but it's not enough to be a sustainable business model on its own. There are other ways to monetize through YouTube. There's sponsorship. If you have enough viewers, you can get sponsorship for your videos. You can also do affiliate links. Say you're talking about a game and then you have a link below where people can click on it and they can find where to buy the game, and then you get an affiliate fee. I think for my purposes, there's really already a lot of English language material out there, so it would be hard to monetize in any of those ways. However, one reason that I've chosen to focus on Vietnamese is Vietnam is a huge untapped market in the board game industry. Most of the people there that I've talked to have heard about chess, they know Mahjong, maybe Monopoly, but there's a whole new world of games out there that they just haven't heard about. And I believe that they just need someone to introduce them to these games. People from Vietnam, in my observation, talking to language partners online and also my Vietnamese friends in real life, they seem very open-minded about trying new things, and at the same time they seem genuinely interested in board games. But there's just not really a lot of information available regarding board games in Vietnam. So I want to create some of that content, and eventually if I do start doing affiliate links, I would focus on Vietnam, just because I think there's so much potential there. It also helps that the Vietnamese economy is just exploding right now, so more and more people are going to have disposable income for fun things like board games. So for now, I'm just going to keep creating the content, and even if I don't get a whole lot of people watching the videos, the worst thing that will happen is I'll have a really good exercise for practicing my Vietnamese. A lot from writing these scripts and making these videos, and it's also a lot of fun. And that wraps up this episode. Next week, I would like to tell you a little bit about the regular local events that I've been doing for the past year or so throughout the Greater Vancouver area. If you'd like to get in touch with me, the best way is probably through Facebook at facebook.com/meepleleaf, or you can email me directly at meepleleafgames@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 1 of the Meeple Leaf podcast, and happy gaming!